Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, fellas. With the
going
season
on?
starting next week, next weekend. Well, let's see what our thoughts are on the preseason. It's been interesting. A lot of news coming out in the preseason. We're in that period where you really don't know where the teams are. But anyway, Simon, what are your thoughts about preseason testing so far?
Um, I'm excited to see Cadillac be in the mix. I'm excited to see another U.S. team being a part of Formula One. The next step will to have an American driver in Formula One. So hopefully, the gentleman that's in F2 right now can graduate to F1. But really excited about Cadillac. Really excited about Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas being a part of the team. Um, you know, Understanding that this is going to be their first year in Formula One, so they're probably going to have some hiccups here and there. They're probably going to be figuring things out. But man, to have another American team involved in Formula One, which can help create, another pipeline for Formula One drivers or drivers in the U.S. to get into Formula One, is exciting for me. I wish them nothing but success. Next, I want to see some American drivers driving for Cadillac. Just like Ferrari has their Italian drivers and, everybody else has their drivers. It's going to be great to see us have some support, American support in Cadillac.
Right? What do you think about what Simon was saying?
So I'm wondering, does that put the heat on Haas now? Because now, right, Haas was the only American for a while, and now Cadillac shows up. So is Haas? Well, Haas did a change already in their engineering staff and on trackside staff. So last year, so I'm wondering how much heat can Cadillac bring to Haas, right? Because there are two American teams. Who's going to try and outdo each other, right? Because Cadillac has, Cadillac may have more money than Haas because they have two facilities, one in the U.S. and one out in Europe, right?
Silverstone,
and they're pushing the limit to see. They surprised a lot of people when they showed up. I believe so from the commentators that I've listened to, that they were they underestimated them. They're more prepared than they expected. So it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold because with Sergio and Valtteri, I think they did a good job in picking those drivers. Right, they know how to help develop the car, and they're not slow given the opportunity to go out there. They know what to do. So I think they've started off on the right foot, in my take.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Valtteri and Sergio are great to have, as a new team coming in, perfect timing too. Everyone, the board is all shuffled. So everyone is trying to find their footing again. So it's not like they're coming in under the old rules and they're trying to get up to speed where they'd really be behind.
Right.
They have the opportunity to possibly do what Haas did in a different way. Haas did it because they had a lot of Ferrari components in the car when they came in, and they surprised a lot of the other teams. But Cadillac has the potential or the opportunity to do that. So yeah, I'm excited to watch that. I'm excited to watch that because being, again, like the rules are changed, it's really seeing who got the better handle on that rule book and develop a really good car aerodynamically and a really good engine power wise and able to last, durable. So, okay. I think so too. So Ray, what do you think? What about pre-testing that you want?
So pre-testing, I think they finally came out and said that you have to take it with a grain of salt. You're not really seeing what's there, right? But we've gone from the fact that with the new power unit, it's been a big talking point. They had Max come out and make a comment on it that it's like Formula E. And then the guy that so happened, the president from the Formula E Racing Series, because they were in the next, I think Formula E was in that same region doing a race, and he offered Max the ability to come and take one of the cars out for a spin and see what he thinks, right? So it's going to be a lot of adaptations on the drivers for them to do it, because they're talking about they have to coast into the corners now in order to regenerate the energy, and at the same, and then to manage it coming out the corner. So it's put things on its head, right? And I have a feeling that the FIA is going to have to come down and make adjustments to it in some ways, to because ultimately they are trying to put on a show where it's not like a procession, right? Because they want to bring the excitement on track. So I think they're gonna, they might have to do some revisiting on stuff, right? And we heard about they're jumping over Mercedes to say that they are dynamically changing the compression in the engine, right? And everybody's kind of trying to tell on each other. The other one was Ferrari, and their DRS wing rotates 365 degrees. So they're saying it's in the upward position. It's almost like creating a little lift for the rear of the car when they do it. So everybody is pointing fingers and trying to figure it out, right? So that's kind of been my overall take on the season opener.
Simon, you agree with that, or you have anything to add on that?
No, I actually like the real changes, right? Because it does even the playing field a little bit. We know how aggressive some of the drivers are. Won't name any names, but if you have to coast into the braking and the cornering, it takes some of the aggression and some of the side impacts during the first corner, during any corner. It really allows the drivers to start thinking outside the box now when it comes to trying to overtake on the last lap, second to last lap, third lap. So yeah, to me as a spectator and a fan, I like seeing little adjustments here and there to see how people react to it, and to see if our drivers and our mentality as human beings can adapt to challenges and nuances to the cars, right? So yeah, I want to see how this year plays out. I think the people who are griping are the ones that it hinders their muscle memory.
Yeah. You mean as far as the drivers?
Yep.
Okay.
You know what it reminds me of? I was listening to you, Simon, talk. I had the opportunity to drive a Tesla, and the Tesla has the ability that you could do what they call a one pedal drive, where if you ease off the gas, it then regenerates and pulls the car down. And I'm wondering, since the system is now 50-50 dependent, I'm thinking if that was what they were complaining, because you have to then figure out how aggressive the regenerative process is going to be as far as dragging the car down, because it kills your minimum speed in the corner, right? So so that's the complexity that a driver would have to be working out in his head to figure that out, to say, well, I can ease off this much because I know the car's going to do this, but my minimum speed is still going to be up there.
Yeah, exactly. So I owned a Tesla until a couple of weeks ago, and that's it, right? It's I may have hit the brakes on a daily drive 3 times, right? So yeah, you take your foot off the gas and it's like you're hitting the brakes, right? So now they're going to have to modulate on a turn. They can't really take the foot off the gas on a turn unless they're actually trying to slow down, right? So it's going to be interesting. You know how Senna used to modulate the gas when he was going around the turns? I think they're going to have to get creative and figure out ways to how to keep their momentum as they're going around turns or coming out of turns where they're full throttle, right? Or where they would touch the brake here or there. They don't have to touch the brake anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think for the drivers that they're more accustomed, even though they've been in the hybrid era, but it wasn't this 50-50 now. It wasn't as aggressive, and they were able to get on top of it, fairly easily. Now they're really going to have to adjust, and they're not just focusing on, driving the car as they used to. They have to now, like they said, there's some corners they might have to downshift to first in order to get it, because they're trying to manage the energy that they're going to regenerate to get back out and how the cars respond. So, I can understand how they feel. I guess, Formula One is supposed to be the pinnacle of that, so it seems like going that aggressive is kind of going against what Formula One really is supposed to be. The hybrid era that they just came out of, it was okay. It seemed everything was working fine, but I don't know. I wonder if they're going to adjust it because, meaning the rules, because all it is now is that from a team perspective, they're trying to make sure that their cars are reliable and quick. And now the drivers, in addition to driving the car, we're going to see who can adapt to this new car fast enough to get the best out of it. And I think Max even said, like, yeah, I don't like it, but basically I'm going to get in there and do what I can because he's here to win, but he doesn't like the car. So he's focused on not bitching about it anymore. Let me adjust. Let me see how I can adapt to get the most out of this package so I could go win another championship. And I think that's what it's going to have to come down to with them.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
Yeah, you got to find the pluses.
You got to find the pluses because it is what it is. You can't just sit there and keep complaining. The other thing about the Ray, I believe you touched on it with the Mercedes engine and them complaining and whatever. That's Formula One, sadly. Sadly, and I'm gonna really be. They bitch and moan if it's not in their favor, right? That's just how they are. Because when Braun came in and had the blown diffuser, they weren't the only team that had it. I think there were at least 3 other teams. I know someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there were at least 3 other teams that had a blown diffuser as well. But everybody else, the big boys like Ferrari and all of them, they didn't have it. And what did they want to do? They wanted to get it banned, right? Because they didn't interpret the rules, let's say it the right way, right? And that's going back the ground effects era with the Williams FW14B. That car, they were up in arms over that because that car was insane with what it could do, and all the other teams, they didn't go down that avenue in interpreting the rules. So what do they want? To get it banned. So, that's, I don't know. They whine about it. And I think, I won't say sadly, that's just part of Formula One. We didn't think of it. Let's see if we can get it banned so they can't use that against us, So anyway, but okay. As for me, what I found interesting, because I alluded to it back in last season at some point, is the Honda Aston Martin partnership. And I mentioned it back then that hopefully, we know Adrian Newey, you got to give him his props. Pretty much the chassis is going to be good. The question mark was always the Honda engine. And even though Honda they weren't in Formula One, they were doing technical support for Red Bull. If most of that heavy lifting was with Red Bull, because Red Bull was trying to develop their own engine unit, it seems like that's what it really was, because here we have the Honda engine that seems, when we got to put a question mark or put the quotes up, seems to be very underpowered compared to the rest of the field. So I'm waiting to see, because if this is a repeat of 2017 to when they were with McLaren, 2015 to 2017, when they were with McLaren, and it was a dismal pairing because the Honda engine was just crap. And it wasn't until 2000 they left McLaren then switched for 2018, and then Honda went to Red Bull, and all of a sudden by then they'd worked out the kinks and then the engine was on fire. So I say that because if that's the case, then poor Fernando, because then he only got part of the puzzle that he needed to win a world title. And I still feel that if he has a good car, a good chassis, and a good engine, that dude he's gonna go get it. He's gonna go get it. So that's why I feel sorry for him if that's the case. And again, I've never been like a Fernando fan per se, but I respect him and his racecraft. And he's a worthy world champion. It's a shame that he hasn't won more titles. But anyway, your thoughts, Simon?
The Honda engine, there was a time where people were changing out, especially in Formula One, changing out the power units like 2 or 3 times a season. It's not happening as much anymore, right? So I wonder if the Honda engine was more built on reliability than it was on power, right? But you're right. It's going to be interesting to see how Aston Martin fares. Right now, everyone's saying they're going to be last on the grid.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would suck for Alonso as well. So it's going to be interesting. I really don't. I don't follow Aston Martin as much as I should. But yeah, that Honda engine is probably going to be an issue this year for sure.
Yeah, because it's a shame. I don't know the politics of it, but you know, and it's easy to say now, but it might have been it would have been a safer bet to stay with the Mercedes engine, you know, and then, you know, get Adrian, you know, but I don't know if that was possible. I don't know the particulars as to why they wanted to switch there, but that was always something I was like, I don't know, because they're coming, and it's not like they had been in Formula One, like dedicated in Formula One, working for another team, and then they're going to switch. They again were kind of out on the peripherals and dipping their toe back in again, and that's, it seems right now, based on what happened in 2015 to 17, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. So I don't know. Yeah. What else? Anything else, Ray?
Well, I also want to jump in on that. I kind of find it hard. So to me, it implies that when they went to Red Bull and Red Bull moved off to do its own thing, there was a brain drain within Honda. So they must have brought up all the knowledgeable engineers and took them on board, right? Because, Honda's been going at it at different times during the whole, Formula One era. One would think that they would have some stuff that they can, transport across multiple iterations of, their staff, right?
Right.
To get it done. But it's sad. And again, I take it as a grain of salt because, really what's happened here in the testing, I really don't take it serious. We're not going to know where people really stand until that first race, or and the qualifying. From the qualifying, we'll know where people stand. So everybody's playing cards right now, and bluffing and hiding and stuff like that. So we'll see, because they were mentioning on Fernando's age. How long will it take for that Honda to get their act together? He's getting older, things of that nature, right? So
the other thing with Honda is the Brawn was a Honda car, was supposed to have a Honda engine, and Honda pulled out abruptly out of Formula One, right? It's like I don't know, man. It's like if they had come in with a good engine, it would have been them. Honda would have won, if they had a competitive, strong engine. They would have won, but they pull out. Their timing is really messed up. Like they jump in and jump out. And I think for them coming in I think that's going to be the problem for Aston Martin. Plain and simple. But anyway, Simon?
No, I don't. I'm probably going to change the topic on you a little bit. Because I think Ray wants to talk about Lewis a little bit, right?
Yes.
And his new bow. Right, his new bow. You want to talk about his new bow?
Sure. Well, I'll say this. I think it was I think it's premature to call her a bow. I think it's premature to say that they are anything other than maybe close acquaintances that went to the show to watch it. That's my take on it. I don't think it's and there's probably some business related behind that. Probably marketing, something like that. So that's kind of where I'm leaving it at right now. I think it's premature to reach that conclusion. Right.
Well, I'm going to agree with you. I think they've probably been friends for a very long time. Right. Just inner circles of Hollywood and racing and sports is really tight. Everyone knows everyone. But I know for a fact that this is a money grab. This is a money grab for sure. And Lewis is going to figure out a way to capitalize, and so will the Kardashians. Going to capitalize on this, right? And they're not going to say a word. They're not going to say if they're dating. They're not going to say if they're not dating. They're just going to be seen together, right? And I truly believe that there's an agenda that we have no idea or can possibly fathom. But at the end of that agenda and that rainbow is going to be a pot of gold.
Yeah.
I like that. I
would tend to agree with Simon.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I think it might be a whole marketing campaign that they are carrying out. And just like you said, Simon, no one has said that. It's left to the audience to interpret how you see fit. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I
Interesting 2026 season, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to next week.
Yep.
I can't wait to see how practice goes. I can't wait to see how qualifying goes. Qualifying to me is going to tell me kind of where everyone is temporarily. But during the race is going to tell me what the first, I say 5 or 6 races are going to be like, right?
Well, yeah. I would say I agree with you, but I'll say it this way. Yes, qualifying is going to show us, who got the better command of like the engine rules and so forth, the chassis and all of that. But then the race is going to show us who worked out the reliability side of it. Because we might see some cars that are quick out the gate and they're putting in great lap times, but they may not be that reliable, over a race distance, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that I never get too excited preseason because a lot of teams sandbag and they're not going to show their true colors, and yada yada yada. Melbourne, we'll see, but then we'll see by the end of that race. You will know who has the reliability side dialed in right, and who still has a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
So, but okay.
And one last thing I want to talk about is just a few things that I'm keeping my eye on. I want to see where Piastri's head's at the first couple of races, right? I want to see where Piastri's head's at. As far as his teammate, he's on cloud 9. His confidence is going to be high, so he's going to come out the gate real confident, right? And he knows how to handle some of the media now. Once you get over that hump and you win a championship, it doesn't matter what sport it is. Right. You're like, all right, I finally figured out the recipe to win, right? Oscar now was winning last year and lost it, right? Not only did he lose it, he lost it twice over because Verstappen passed him as well, right? So I'm interesting to see if he's going to be very aggressive, if he's going to be very timid, if he's going to have the same command of the car that he had last year, if he's going to learn from his mistakes. I'm very interested to see, out of all the drivers, I'm interested to see how he handles the first couple of races.
Interesting. I'm interested to see how Isaac Hadjar does up against Max. I want to see that. I want to see if we're going to have another saga or ongoing season of the cursed number 2 car Red Bull, or is it, is he going to fare a lot better than the rest that have sat in that seat? That's me. How about you, Ray?
So I'm going to go back on one thing there before I come forward, if you don't mind. I kind of question, what's up with Lewis? Why can't he have a race engineer? What's going on with that? Right? Yeah, he seems to be the only, they've publicized it for him. I don't know of another driver that doesn't have a race engineer that's on the grid right now. Right? He came up with somebody that's going to be temporary. So why is it such an issue? Right? That's my question there. It makes me kind of wonder. Right? And
so,
as far as
can we answer that? Can we answer that before you move on?
No, man, don't answer that. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I am hypothetically and guessing and assuming here, I'm going to use all those disclaimers, that it is not easy to find an engineer that is capable of the pressure that Formula One dictates, right? You could probably have 20 engineers that could possibly do what the average Formula One engineer can do. But out of those 20, you probably only have 2 that can do it consistently. And out of that 2, you probably only have 1 that can do it on a high level. I don't think it's an easy find. I don't think it's something that you can just say, hey, come here. You're going to be Lewis's new engineer. I think it takes time to find that right fit and chemistry. I don't know this, so don't quote me on this, even though my name is Simon. I believe Lewis is actually trying to find that individual, right? You can't steal him at this point. You're going to have to find someone that's probably going to be a rookie in some aspect of Formula One.
Well, I'll agree with that, and the other component is the relationship. You know, it's like a marriage, right? So clearly, him and Adami last year, that was a bad marriage, right? Ended in divorce, right? Lewis and Bono, that was a great marriage. You know, Fords got stronger every year. The problem is it seems he can't get Bono, right? Because that would be the thing. Like if he were able to get Bono and come over to Ferrari, at least the chemistry part, and they know each other. So, you know, it's a relationship as we've seen is you don't even have to speak. You'll know, oh no, he's going to want to know this, or he's going to want to know this, or, you know, that kind of intuitive communication that they have. That takes time. I'm sure there are capable people. Adami was capable, but hey, from the first race, I was like, yo, this guy's a jerk. I don't like how he's talking. I don't like the tone. I don't like, that was me. And I'm not Lewis, you know, I was like, who the hell who's this, you know, kind of thing. And I think there are qualified people, but that component is the hardest part, you know, and he can't have Bono.
So yeah,
You know?
I hear you, but it just makes me go, right? All the other guys found drivers, and he can't find a driver, right?
Give me
Engineer. Sorry, my bad. Thank you for the correction. And you know, is it because of the structure of what the team is with that is also maybe playing a part in that hindrance, or you know, it makes me wonder why we can't find it. Because yes, I agree with the last guy. I mentioned it multiple times, like he was on, you know, like he was on a dial-up line when, you know, Lewis sent him a question. His response was like, you know, not there. So yeah, you know, that's my little observation that kind of makes me wonder. I just wanted to drop this other one, and then, you know, you guys
go ahead
from there.
Go
and
ahead.
the other one is with Oscar, is McLaren going to let him down again this year? Right? Because there were some moments last year where, you know, the ball needed to fall in Oscar's camp, and it didn't really fall that way. That's all I'm saying.
I'll say this. Well, yeah, that depends on how the McLaren car is, right? And then it also depends on which one of the two can adapt to what's needed to get the most out of the car. Like if the car is good, I think Oscar will have a shot. My question is now Lando, he's a world champion. He's the reigning world champion. That puts a little more added pressure on him. You're trying to retain that, you know? So I think Oscar will be okay. I think Oscar will be okay. I think for him, huh?
So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm just saying if the McLaren car is as good or better than it was last season compared to and better than the rest, yeah, I think Oscar will do all right. I want to see if Lando has worked out some of those kinks that he had, you know, like because he almost lost it too. I mean, he was helped to get that title. You know, he was helped.
Don't get race started.
No, I know. We'll see.
Get race started.
He was helped. He was helped, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. So, okay, all right. Well, join us next week, everyone. March 6th through the 8th, going live at 7 p.m. Eastern with our episode of the Melbourne Formula One Grand Prix. Please join us then. Take care.